on Friday, March 14th. And so it's a really big week energetically. Are you feeling the wave building? This is a total full moon lunar eclipse, so it's a big energy. And so we've got the energy of the full moon, which is about, what's being illuminated, what's ready to be brought to fruition or completion, what's ready to maybe be healed, transformed, and released. So those are the energetics of the full moon, but with an eclipse, it's even multiplied energetically. It's amplified. And then we've got the eclipse, which is a faded point of change. It's like a faded turning of the wheel. And so it's also the first eclipse of 2025. And it's the first Virgo eclipse in the Pisces and Virgo lunar nodes, placements of the lunar nodes for the next year and a half. So yeah, for so many reasons, it's a big energy this week, but just in general, March is quite a lineup of astrological influences that we're all going to be navigating. So my hope is that this reading is helpful for offering some kind of insightful, reflective framework that can support you in navigating these energies and ultimately consciously choosing how to create the most optimal outcomes and high side benefits of the range of expressions of how these energies can work. So if you're new to tarot, or if you're just new to how I read tarot, I'll just say, tarot and astrology, it's archetypally predictive. It's not concretely predictive. So it basically, one way to look at it is that it's like a weather forecast, and then you use your free will to choose what you're going to wear in the weather. And depending on what you're going to wear in the weather, you're going to have very specific experiences of what the current is that that's moving through. So sometimes the way this stuff works is it's very intuitively resonant, and you'll feel that. You'll feel somewhere in you if there's like even if it's not necessarily clearly logical, you'll feel if the messages are aligned with you in some way. And if you don't know right away how it resonates, my suggestion would be to just simply open to the energy of that resonance and allow it to continue unfolding within you over the next subsequent, perhaps like days or weeks, if you continue giving it your attention, and especially in a sense, metaphorically, watering the seeds of reflection with your reflective and meditative efforts like meditation and journaling and introspection and doing things that can further tap into the energy for you to see what kind of what further clarity and insights these messages might have. So let's see, I already cleansed and shuffled all the decks. I cleansed my space and said a prayer of intention, lit a candle. So we're ready to just go ahead and dive into the reading. So I always like to start with pulling from the Spirit Cats deck from that my friend Nicole PR created. And it's really interesting because I got this card here called Paradox. And part of what's interesting about this for me is that, so I do new and full moon readings here, and I've been doing that for about 8 months. And I've got this card several times for these readings, which is interesting because it's like black and white and working with the energies of the new and full moon. And so it's coming up again, and it actually feels really fitting for for the energies this week. So I'm going to go ahead and read this card to you. Okay, Paradox. Meet Stardust. He is the convergence of opposites. He is the dark and the light. He is a magician that turns everything on its head, pawing at the paradox. He travels the galaxies with his best friends, free will and destiny. No one knows where one begins and the other ends. He sees the good in the evil and the evil in the good. Within every blessing, there's a tragedy, and within every tragedy, there's a blessing. We think we know what's what, but Stardust throws everything into question. Let the paradox open up our thinking and our perspective. So, some of what I think is really on point and interesting in this card, I can like tune into how the astrological currents are kind of coming through this card. So the convergence of opposites. So anytime we have a full moon, what we astrologically and astronomically, what's happening is we have the sun and the moon in perfect opposition to each other. So we have a convergence of opposites. He is the dark and the light. So, you know, the dark and the light. So we're working with this full moon and it's being eclipsed, right? So it's going to be darkened for a bit of time. He is a magician that turns everything on its head. No one knows where one begins and the other ends. We think we know what's what, but Stardust throws everything into question. So this eclipse coming up, this full moon eclipse coming up, it's at 24 degrees Virgo, and it's directly in a trine aspect, a flowing, positive, harmonious aspect to the planet Uranus over in Taurus. And Uranus is all about the sudden, quick, unexpected changes or unfoldings or events or synchronicities. And it, you know, Uranus is the aspect of ourselves and our lives that's just like, you know, flip of a switch and life is different now. When that happens, you know, you can bet that Uranus has got its hand in that situation. And so it's in a really harmonious aspect to this full moon eclipse. So it makes me feel like if you find yourself in a moment where there's a sudden unexpected shift, and you know, sometimes these things can be jarring. You know, it kind of depends. It depends on some things. You know, all of these archetypes, they have a range of experience depending on ultimately just what are we needing? What are we needing at that time? And, you know, is what we're needing a way to grow through challenge, or is what we're needing a way to grow through, you know, something like harmonious in some way? Either way, it's there to help us grow. And the presence of Uranus is all about like helping to get us on track with who we're here to be and what we're here to do in our own unique way in this life and in this world. So, yeah, it's a fun energy, and it can be really jolting if it comes through in a more challenging way. So my suggestion, if that is the case, kind of utilize these Virgoan, and we've got this full moon eclipse in Virgo, and then we've got the Uranus over in Taurus, and they're both earth signs. So I would say a really great way to take care of yourself at this time is to do activities that help to ground and nourish and like productively build towards something solid and sustainable. So that would be just kind of a good kind of guideline of like where to direct your energy into if you feel you are, if you feel things to be unexpected and chaotic. A good way to channel your energy is, okay, where can I put my attention to in ways that are going to ground, nourish, and productively like build and sustain? Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the tarot now, and what I'm gonna do is go through a bunch of cards and we'll kind of see how it all ties together. Okay, so in the deck that I use for calling in messages from the ancestors, I was calling in the collective ancestors of humanity, which is just such a beautiful and powerful energy to tap into. Even just speaking the words to it, it's like I can feel this like just this like openness and power and like softness in my heart, but there's like kind of like a real rooted power of the human spirit, which is just so immensely beautiful and versatile and resilient, and so many admirable qualities. So it feels good even just tapping into that energy. So I use the Antique Anatomy Tarot deck for calling messages from the collective ancestors, and we've got the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands is all about it's time to complete something that feels difficult. It's time to lay down the burdens. You're done. You've come as far as you can with this topic in your life. And it's really perfect. I mean, there couldn't be a better timing for completing and letting go of something, working with this full moon eclipse energy. So if there's something in your life that you feel like you've done all you can to give it your best, and there's just really truly nowhere else to go, and if you notice yourself feeling like, man, this is at this point, this is really draining my life force energy, and I really want to be freed up for other things and in other ways, this is your confirmation to say, yeah, it's time. It's time to put it down. And you know, there's a way that we can bring closure and completion to things that still is like full of like love and honor and respect for what has been and for how far something or someone brought us in our own journey. You know, there's a way to do it that even if it's a challenging experience in some way, there's a way to do it that still can be met with love and honoring and appreciation and care and respect, and actually completing something with not only the intentions of those energies, but like effectively bringing those energies into the space between you. That's really what brings the best quality of closure to something. And all of that can still be done if people are in positions of opposition where they don't agree. You don't have to agree on everything in order to still have a space of mutual respect and love and care and consideration and honoring. So, you know, yeah, you know, I think to really respect what has been, it's ideally good to wrap it up in these kinds of energies. At the bottom of the deck, what you might not see coming, what you might not see influencing the experience is the King of Cups in reverse. And so the King of Cups upright, I like this interpretation because it's the calming tonic. And like the King of Cups energy upright is very calming. It's a masculine energy, and we're talking about the cups, so that's a water element, which in tarot represents our emotions. And so when there's a masculine energy that is a King of Cups, that energy is very calming to be around, because that energy is very secure and mature. It's honest. It's well boundaried. It's willing to compromise. It's trustworthy. It's safe. So in the reverse position, it can be, you know, the opposite of those energies. And so, you know, we've got this one message here about let go and put down the burden that you're no longer feeling in alignment to carry. And we've got this King of Cups in reverse energy that's affecting the either the subconscious or kind of happening, but you're not, it's like it's influencing things, but you're not quite aware of it. I would say if this is you know, if this is in relation to you know, we all have ways that we're learning to grow and develop and refine these parts of ourselves. So, you know, the path of growth and development and healing, it requires a lot of humility. It requires being able to look at oneself and be humble enough to say, yeah, I have some room to grow, you know, and I welcome that. I'm taking that on. I'm committing to devoting myself to that and to growing myself more in these ways, because I know that I'm capable of something better. You know, I'm capable of this King of Cups upright energy, and I'm not quite there yet. If this is, you know, and so if that's you, if there's a way that you feel like you could be better developed in those ways, this is a great time to like really devote yourself to doing better and to having more kind of like psychological awareness and control over when you might be exhibiting energies of emotional immaturity or manipulation, coercion, and you know, and catching yourself and doing what you need to create the remedy, create the opposite effect of like emotional stability and trustworthiness and maturity. And like I said, compromise, you know, compromise takes a lot of humility. It takes a lot of, you know, a willingness to not be so emotionally rigid. King of Cups reverse could be very emotionally rigid. So, you know, like I said, like this, there's no shame in this. We all go through this energy. It's just part of the human journey, part of the path of self-development and growth and healing. And so if this is in relationship to another person, you know, sometimes when these energies come into our lives, it teaches us a lot about what our needs are. You know, so if you're experiencing this energy coming through another person, then perhaps what that person is here to reflect to you is more about what your needs are in emotional stability with another. All right, so I'm going to put these down for now, and I'm going to keep going across the spread, and we'll come back to those if and see how it all ties in. One sec, I'm going to get a quick drink here. All right, so this is the deck. This is the Tarot of Transcendence, and this is a deck that I use to call upon messages for the spirit guides, angels, allies of the collective humanity. So as I was shuffling, all these three cards popped out. So we've got the Six of Pentacles reverse, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Strength reverse. So, and at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Queen of Cups reversed, which is interesting because now we have at the bottom of both these decks the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups both reversed. Okay, so Six of Pentacles reverse is a situation where there's an imbalance happening of some kind, and it tends to be on like the level of resources in some way. And so these could be material resources. They could be resources of like personal affection. Like do you know that, you know, your love, your care, your affection, the consideration that you offer other people, the trust that you put into other people, those are personal resources, just so you know. Treat them like your money, you know, be mature and wise about how you dole them out and spend them, who you share them with. So Six of Pentacles reverse is saying that there's an imbalance in these in how resources are being shared in some way. The Ace of Cups. This is a beautiful energy. This is a new beginning in emotional fulfillment. And it's a new beginning. It's kind of like a new opportunity. You know, we've got this hand coming like out of the ether behind the clouds. You know, the clouds are behind it, and there's just like, it's got a real like kind of springtime energy too, with these flowers and the sun and the light and the bird. I mean, you know, and we have the spring equinox coming up next week. And that will be the astrological new year happening on March 20th. So I wonder if this is kind of saying that there's a new beginning that wants to happen, and it's cups. It's the Ace of Cups, and so again, the cups rules water and emotion. So this is like a new beginning in emotional fulfillment. Oftentimes it can have to do with self-love, or it could have to do with love shared with another. It tends to be in connection to another person. And then in this spread, we've got the Strength in reverse. So one thing coming up for me with this card, so in the traditional version of this card, you've got this woman who's holding open the mouth of a lion, and you know, which would be in real life a pretty terrifying moment of experience, but the way this card depicts it, it's very peaceful. The woman is very peacefully, very gently, like prying open the mouth of this lion. And this lion, it's not resisting her efforts. And so there's this kind of symbolic message around like the higher aspect of ourselves that's in a sense like taming or gaining control over like the more kind of animalistic, instinctual aspect of ourselves. So I think about that in relation to getting the Strength in reverse, because I wonder if part of the message here is that our instinctual animalistic aspect of self is gaining too much control over the higher aspect of self that's connected to greater wisdom and kind of serving a higher purpose, serving a purpose that's greater than just one's own benefit and agendas. So, you know, and again, this, like the King of Cups reverse, I mean, this is simply an energy, and it's just simply a point on the path that we all have to move through at some point in order to grow and develop in the ways that we need. And with the Strength reverse coming out in this way, I feel like the way to get this energy upright and to like really embody strength and courage, for me, the reversal is saying the message here is to go within. And in fact, that would be also like confirmed by the fact that we've got this Virgo full moon eclipse, which is a very internal time. The lunar eclipses, the lunar full moon eclipse is going to tend to be powerful shifts that we feel internally happening inside of us, whereas the new moon solar eclipse tends to be a more external energy that is changing around us. And so for a Virgo lunar full moon eclipse. And also Virgo, you know, in tarot, Virgo, that sign is ruled by the Hermit. And so, yeah, I just feel for a number of reasons that the way to actually tap into your strength and courage and fully embody that is to spend time this week doing activities that are more meditative and healing and grounding and reflective, to go within and find the inner light of your own strength and courage. And so with all of these coming out together, because when I was shuffling, they all fell out together, and I thought that was interesting. This Six of Pentacles reverse, the Ace of Cups, and the Strength card in reverse. So I feel like there's a new beginning wanting to come through, but I think the message here is make sure that if you're going to create a new beginning, that you're doing so with a very clear idea of what your needs are, because that's going to really determine your awareness of how to keep resources balanced and feeling reciprocal in the connection. And when things are feeling balanced and reciprocal in the connection of this new emotional fulfillment, that's going to make you feel more connected to your strength and courage. You know, it takes strength and courage to even get clear of what your needs are and be able to clearly articulate them to another person. Because sometimes our needs are very, you know, they can go into topics that are very sensitive, very vulnerable and delicate. And, you know, we want to do things in a way where we want to, you know, try to make everybody happy. But sometimes in life and sometimes in relationships, in order to be in alignment with our own strength and courage and our own sense of needs, and, you know, this Six of Pentacles, we create a reciprocal energy with other people based off of how we value ourselves. So within this energy, within these messages, it's like, know your worth and take a stand for that. Be courageous enough to, you know, have the strength to take a stand for that and let it be known. And if you can do that, then this new beginning of emotional fulfillment really could be something wonderful. I mean, just look at the energy of this card. It's so beautiful. You know, like, who doesn't want some of that in their life? So at the bottom of the deck, we got the Queen of Cups in reverse. And like I said, I think it's interesting that in the previous deck, we had the King of Cups in reverse. So we've now got the masculine and feminine archetypes of like royalty, you know, that are of the cups of emotions that are both in reverse. So, you know, I think about, one way I think about it is like the King of Cups is more like, reverse is more outwardly, obviously coercive and manipulative, where I think the Queen of Cups reverse, I think she's more covert in how she does it, you know, and it tends to that, for that reason, tends to be like even more manipulative, because she's like very clever in how she's weaving certain things to get the outcome that she wants, and she's doing it through emotional manipulation in some way, or it's an emotional immaturity that she's you know, whereas like the masculine expression of that energy is going to be more like assertive and outward with it. She's going to hold it. She's going to do it, but it's going to be more secretive behind the scenes. So both of these energies are really needing to grow. And, you know, look, I mean, we all have these masculine, feminine energies. We all have many times in life where we get an opportunity to grow our emotional self. And, you know, we're talking about the full moon lunar eclipse. The full moon, I mean, the moon rules our emotions. It's a very emotional time. So I would say this is a very strong message for all of us to commit to doing like further emotional development and heightening emotional intelligence and heightening our intuition and our ability to be mature and respectful and transparent and honest with people emotionally, and to have healthy boundaries emotionally as well. Part of what I'm getting through right now with this configuration here, I'm almost getting like women on one side and men on the other, and each side is like pointing fingers at the other, judging and blaming and shaming and guilting. And this is a situation, this is kind of a message where it's like, actually, before you blame that other person or that other energy, just, you know, slow your roll, take a pause, and also take an honest look at inside and see where you might be doing the same thing. Maybe the details are different, but maybe the dynamic might be the same thing. And that happens all the time if we're willing enough to acknowledge it and receive its reflections and opportunity for growth. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep going here. I have one more deck. I like to pull from the Classic Rider-Waite Tarot deck for messages for the soul path, destiny of humanity. And so what came out is the Five of Pentacles. This is a card of abandonment and rejection. It's a card of low self-worth. This is a very painful, emotionally painful card, emotionally painful energy. And it came with the Nine of Wands in reverse at the bottom of the deck. So the Nine of Wands upright, it's a message of like, listen, I know you're tired, but you've come so far and you're almost there. You just have to, you know, just kind of like muster up the strength to keep going. Don't quit now. But it's in reverse. And so what that's telling me, I'm wondering if this is resonating for you. I wonder if you're just like a little maxed out and too tired. And I think maybe getting some rest might be a great priority, which again, with the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, I mean, like rest, solitude, retreat, self-care, cleansing, healing, introspection. Like this is really like the best way to utilize the energies this week. Probably, I would say, so today's Wednesday, March 12th. The full moon lunar eclipse is on Friday the 14th. You know, you can even just start it today and just go through the weekend. And as best you can, prioritize activities that are restful and restorative and reflective. Because ultimately what this is telling me, and especially because at the beginning of the reading, remember we got the Ten of Wands, and this is your completion. This is the card of completion and ready to release and let go. Nine of Wands, you know, if this were upright, it would be basically a message of like, you are so close, you're almost there, don't stop. But again, it's in reverse, so it's telling me, I feel like maybe you might just be too tired, and it might be making your perception of being close to the end feel a little skewed. Like you might not be seeing things clearly, because when we're tired and we're needing rest and self-care, you know, our stresses can feel like more amplified, and things can just feel harder. So I would say this message, and especially because it came out with the Five of Pentacles, which is a, you know, these are hard energies, you know, rejection and abandonment, low self-worth, feeling left out in the cold and just totally discarded. Those are hard energies. So, you know, Five of Pentacles with Nine of Wands reversed for me is definitely a really loud and clear message to prioritize rest. Okay, so I think that really is all that's needed to be said in this reading right now. So I'll bring the reading to a close, and I hope that this was helpful for you in some way. If it was, please consider liking, commenting, or sharing this video. And if you're interested in any of my work with women and couples online, or if you live in the Bay Area, California, my information for my website, my offerings is in my, I'll put it in the description to this video. I think that's it. I wish you a wonderful full moon lunar eclipse. Oh, really quick too. Sorry, like sometimes when channeling, it's like things come in last minute. And then always after I'm done with these videos, the next couple days, I'll keep kind of channeling information that I wish I would have put in the video, but it's just too late. Something coming to mind for me. So the day after this full moon lunar eclipse, you guys, Mercury turns retrograde. So this piece here, let the paradox open up our thinking and our perspective. That to me really connects to the Mercury turning retrograde the day after this full moon lunar eclipse. And it'll be retrograde until April 7th. And so in this time period, you guys, you know, while going within and getting rest and restoration and reflective insight, you know, it would be a good time to just reassess what is your perspective on things? How does it make you think? How does that thinking make you feel? Do you like those feelings? Does it work for you? Are these feelings that you want to feel more of? If so, great, then keep doing that. And if the answer is no, I don't like these feelings, well, you know, is it possible that a shift in your perspective is something at least worth considering? You know, because I'm always in awe of how when it comes to a shift in perspective, man, just it's kind of like in doing yoga, you know, with yoga postures, you know, how the slightest adjustment can just completely change how we experience a yoga posture. You know, similarly, like the slightest adjustment in perspective, it kind of changes in a sense like the posture of the mind and how we're perceiving what we're thinking, and then from what we're thinking, how we're feeling. So yeah, I just wanted to end with that again, because we are, and you know, Virgo, so Mercury's going retrograde, but Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. So when Mercury, you know, so we've got this full moon Virgo eclipse, and then Mercury's going retrograde the day after. So, you know, this is just all coming through right now. That feels really spot on, which is all around. It's a good time to reevaluate our perspectives. And through our perspectives, our thinking. And then from our thinking, how we're feeling. Do we like those feelings? Are they working for us? Does it make us feel like, yes, this is exactly how I want to feel, and this is exactly who I want to be. This is the life I want to live. And if that's the case, that's amazing, and keep doing that. And please be an example to others as well. And if that's not the case, then it's a good time to at least just open to the idea that maybe something about the way you're perceiving could use, could just use an assessment, and then just start there and see what wants to unfold. All right, thank you. Happy full moon to you. Take care.